hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're firing me, firing me. Yeah, you're firing me, firing me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa, I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones. I'm losing it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Taking Over. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I'm joined by my tag team partner, the one and only, the natural Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, do you have anything to say after our local establishment did a Raw watch-along last night?
Hey, I was busy, okay, filming videos. That's why I was not on camera.
That's fine. That's fine. But you told us that you'd have things to tell me and Mark come tomorrow
No.
night. No?
No,
You're gonna decide not to tell us anymore?
no. I'll tell you off screen.
All right. Do you want to talk about
Okay.
Chelsea Green? Or do your
It's
own
Chelsea
personal
Green. I do it better than you
There we
guys do.
That's why we wanted you at the watch along, but you decided that recording a vlog was more important.
Yes, it was. Yes, it really was.
All good. We'll talk more about Chelsea Green later on.
Yay.
But we start with a recap of last week. We don't care about last week. Last week's over. Last week's done. I honestly would have rather replayed last week, though, because I'm not a fan of tonight's episode. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I liked a couple of things here, and then I hated most of the rest of the episode.
Yeah,
Papa
it was up and
Smokes
down.
is here. Hello, Papa Smokes. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We start with one of my favorite things on the entire show. Trick Williams comes out for his celebration for becoming the champion. Barry Monkey says it was mostly shit. I agree. Trick comes out and he starts talking about how great it is to be champion and about how he's going to make sure that he goes ahead and lives on the legacy of all the champions that have come before him. And then out comes Metaphor's own Lash Legend. And I was like, ooh, this could be fun. For those that missed it, because I'm sure none of us watched this, on the bump, Trick Williams did have a portion of the bump where he called out Lash Legend and told her, and I quote, "You know the number to call to get me." And they were like, "Oh, you've got such great confidence in Riz." Well, of course he has confidence. They're dating already. All he has to do is pretend on television. It's not hard. However, I will give credit where credit is due. Lash Legend was a show stealer in this segment. I am going to heap much praise on Lash Legend for this segment. Because Lash Legend, I don't think knew the things that Trick was going to say to her. And you could tell that she was getting caught up in the moment. And there was one point where she started to speak, stopped, and looked directly at the ringside camera and remembered she's in front of a live audience and on television. And she turned her back to breathe. Did you notice that she kept turning her back to Trick so she could catch her breath to recuperate for this promo? Oh,
I mean, I don't blame her.
yes. I mean, Trick is a handsome man. I agree. But, you know, trying to pull that off on television while trying to play hard to get with the man that you're already in a relationship with, I thought she did a really good job of making it seem like she wants him while also pretending that she knows she can't have him.
Yeah.
And there's some back and forth here that's fantastic. They talk about chocolate candies. He brings up that he's a Reese's Pieces and that Reese's peanut butter cup, and all she wants to do is peel off the golden layer to get to the rich chocolate underneath. To which that caught her completely off guard. She says that as Trick would know, if he knew her at all, that she's more of a Kit Kat man. To which somebody in the crowd said something that completely popped the audience and the audience alone. Like, somebody in the audience said something. I don't remember what it was. And the entire crowd just, like, got caught up in their own little moment as Trick and Lash just kind of look at each other. But again, it's a fun, sexually innuendo-filled promo. It's setting up Noam Dar versus Trick Williams at Battleground, which is fine. Noam Dar is a perfect first opponent for Trick Williams. I'm all in for this match because it means that Trick has a nice, easy first championship defense. He's not going to lose to Noam Dar. They're going to let him have a nice win. Noam Dar will make him look like $1 million. Everything will be okay. She talks about how she knows the truth, and she flashes this folder that I really thought she was just using as a fan because he kept turning her on, and she kept having to breeze herself with the folder. But apparently there's something in there. Oh, I remember what the crowd chanted now. He's not the father.
Oh, yeah.
Barry says here, I really didn't care about this segment. I adored this. I thought this was fantastic. It took all of like 5 or 6 minutes. It was a nice, fun start to the show. It makes it nice because we have these 2-night shows where sometimes it feels like night 1 and night 2 are completely separated, and instead of things that are matches that are set up on night 1, things that happen on night 1 don't typically matter on night 2 of these shows. I liked how it kind of bridged the gap. The last thing we saw was Trick winning. The first thing that we see in the building is Trick here. That makes sense. Your new world champion should always start the show. Yeah. What did you have for anything in here?
My only downfall, I agree with what you said. It just, my only downfall was when she came out, her screeching noise when she came out. At that moment, I was like, I just want to take her off of my TV already. That really like threw me off. And then when she came in with him and like seeing their chemistry, how she sounded a lot better with him than she did when she came in by herself. I went, okay, I like this now better than when she was screeching, like screaming when she came out here. So at first I thought it was going to turn me off of the segment, but they have such a good chemistry that it just made me forget what happened, to be honest. And I really enjoy that. Again, I was like between that and the crowd popping for everything. I thought she was using the envelope to like fan herself, because I would have done that too. Like, it's hot in here. But no, she's like, I have the truth right here. It's right here. And he's like looking at it like, what is it though? So I guess we'll find out in the Supernova sessions next week of what the truth really is. But
yeah,
still, it's like we get like that advertisement next week later. So
yeah, we get the backstage segment outside. We get the backstage segment outside that it's going that the Noam Dar says, if you want to know what the truth is, go ahead and come next Supernova sessions next week. Again, it's all going to lead to a match with Noam Dar. It's fine.
Yeah, and I'm torn about that one because, like you said, yeah, it's in like I don't want to say easy, but it's like an easy opponent for Trick. But at the same time, how do you go from Dragunov to Noam Dar? You know what I mean? It's just like, that's the part that I'm like, I don't like Noam Dar like that. He's not my cup of tea, to be honest. But that's how I see it. It's like I see Dragunov at like a certain caliber, a certain level here, and then Noam Dar is like, it feels like a downgrade from that. It's like the only thing that I don't like about it. So just like, that's the only part that like kind of torn me about the segment, knowing that this is gonna happen. But like you said, either way, it's something like somewhat of an easy kind of ride here for Trick in that sense of it. And hopefully, probably Lash is gonna get involved and he's gonna retain because of her as well. And we're gonna continue that storyline with her too. So,
I mean, Cody Rhodes is going from Roman Reigns to AJ Styles on Saturday, so it's like, it is what happens when a champion wins their championship for the first time. They get an easy first defense. We have our good friend Throwback. What's good, guys? Just waiting for Brody to go to bed. Hope all is well. All is well here. Hopefully you are feeling better. I know you had a rough couple days over the weekend, so hopefully you are feeling better. He says, also, I'm on the Thea Hale as Women's North American title winner. I was on that bandwagon for a long time until I heard the convoluted bullshit that they gave us tonight. We'll talk more about that later. Right, says the envelope might have proof that Trick has been taking betting advice from Andre Chase. Well, if he's betting on Thea Hale to win things, he definitely going to need some kind of help. We then get Gigi and Ariana, and I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to get a Gigi and Ariana segment.
Yeah.
And it was like a cold open to preview what was happening tonight. And it felt like 2 segments just kind of thrown together. Yeah. And I hate it. Like, I liked all the Ariana Grace Gigi stuff. I thought it was great. Gigi burping at the table, Gigi being completely unladylike. I loved all that. However, I hated that they would cut from that to Gigi reading from a teleprompter at a completely different time and place, reading the script that she was given about what matches they were talking about that they were squeezing into this conversation. I was torn. I think everything Ariana Grace and Gigi doing is fantastic. I loved it last week. I loved it this week. But shoehorning this into the cold open to tell us what we've got coming up later wasn't for me.
No, could have done without it.
As the internet would say, it's a no from me, dog.
Yes.
We then see Oba Femi versus Ivar. Astrid, talk about Oba Femi versus Ivar.
I mean, that meaty being sloppy meat. That's the best way to describe this. I mean, even Gigi said it, so that really
She
got me
did
when she
indeed.
did say it. No, I enjoyed the match. It was, I feel like a good way to highlight Ova a little bit further as well. Again, love hearing the crowd chanting. At least this during the match, I feel like it adds a little bit more to Opa's presence as this is happening. I like how we had a balance though, because we have moments like Ibar doing like he did like two moonsaults to him, and he like kind of splashed on splashed Oba to the barricade. So like things like that, I feel like it was a good way to like showcase Oba, but then we gave a little bit of Ivar doing here some offense. Yeah, I like the match. It just like to me it wouldn't have been an opener in the sense of like I would have preferred something a little bit quicker to like get my attention going right after that cold open, but either way, I enjoy the match. It just I wouldn't have put as the opener though. But again, it just like I think the best part of this was not only that we get Oba retainer, which is something that we already kind of expected either way, but the pop was the best thing was Wes's return, and that definitely got me. I was not expecting that to happen. To hear that music and to see him not only going from jumping from the barricade to the steel steps and having that David and Goliath kind of face, I was like, this is amazing. Give it to me already, please.
Yeah, I love this. I thought I did, for some reason I undersold what Ivar was going to be in this match somehow. Like Ivar was great in this match, not only for the things that Ivar does, because Ivar does a lot of great things on his own, but he was great for, as Barry says, you could see Oba's greenness throughout it. The ref had to help him into positions. Ivar had to help him a couple times too, but that's fine. I'm perfectly okay with people in NXT being green. I'm perfectly okay with people in NXT, especially at Oba Femi's level, trying to figure this out. This was Oba Femi's best match on the NXT roster. The triple threat was fantastic. I adore the triple threat that we got in the pay-per-view. I stand and deliver. That was fantastic. I love watching him wrestle little guys. I think that's great. Watching him and Ivar work tonight was sensational. I really enjoyed these two because you finally had somebody so big that they're not only big enough that you can believe that they can go toe to toe with Ivar, with Oba. You believed at points that even though you know Ivar is going to lose the match, I bought in once or twice to a near fall. When he hit that second moonsault off the top rope, I bought in that he might actually beat Oba Femi. I loved that they were putting this up there, that this is a guy who's as big as Oba Femi. This is a guy who's as strong as Oba Femi. The one thing that Ivar has that Oba Femi doesn't is he's faster. He's a little bit more agile. He has that, as we always used to say, that 305 live energy. He has that extra ability about him. They talked about how he was so big and so agile that he could wrestle on WWE speed in matches that only take 3 minutes. I loved the idea of that. And you know what? The match lived up to everything it needed to. Ivar really brought Oba Femi to a new level. Hopefully, Oba Femi can take what he learned here and bring it into other matches. And then, yes, I didn't even realize it was Wesley's music when it hit. I was trying to figure out who it was. I had forgotten that was Wesley's music. And I'm like, who's coming in now? Because I was expecting main roster people to make their drop down. And I'm like, this isn't Ricochet. This isn't. I'm thinking, like, who are the little guys that would be coming down to NXT to be able to take on Ivar? To take on Oba? And I'm like, well, Ricochet would make a whole lot of sense. And I completely forgot about Wesley. I loved the fact that they stood there and Wesley's like just looking straight at him and then kind of just does that little look up. I thought the match was incredible. The shock return of Wesley is great. It did everything it needed to do. It didn't take too long. It didn't feel short by any means. It kind of fit right where it needed to be. It was just long enough to get the two guys over, but it didn't overstay its welcome. But yeah, everybody had their thing. it makes Ivar look good going back to the main roster. Ironically enough, somehow, some way, after losing to Sheamus, and we went, well, that's going to be a dud when it happens. It was better than I thought, which is a surprise because I love Ivar. Ivar's a local guy from around here. I've seen him on the indies. I think he's great. Astrid face palming Ed over Wesley.
I do that quite often here.
It's par for the course, especially today in the Discord. But anyways, we move on. Thea Hale's getting ready for her match, and she's pumping herself up, and she's pumping up Fallon to be at ringside. And Fallon's like, I really don't think I should go out there. And Thea's like, no, you have to come out there. And Fallon's like, no, I really don't think I should go out there, Thea. And Thea's like, no, you got to come out there. You're one of us. And she's like, no, I gotta start worrying about myself. I gotta stop getting in other people's way. And as soon as she said that, I messaged Astrid. She's turning heel tonight. And Astrid just put a crying face in the chat and she goes, I know.
It's happening.
And then we get to the match. And the match is fine. Like Jacy, Jayne, and Thea Hale. It's fine. I didn't want any more of it. I could have done with a little bit less of it. Jacy could have done with whatever broke her nose a little bit less, obviously, because she had a gusher after that match. That one camera shot where they're panning to Fallon as she's walking by Jacy Jayne, and you see like her hand up towards her nose. You just see the blood like trickling down her hand. I'm like, oh, she got busted bad somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Fallon turns on Thea. Shocker. And I already know what's going to happen. Fallon's literally going to come out next week when Thea tries to confront her about why this happened. Because you need to stop trusting people, Thea. That's what you've been taught. Jacy Jayne tried to teach this to you. You didn't listen. You trusted Jacy Jayne. Look what happened. So then you trust Fallon Henley. And look what happened. Oh, Astrid sad puppy.
Yeah. I know I said I'm gonna hate it at first in the aspect of like I love Fallon as a babyface. I love the way she has such a connection with the crowd in that aspect, and I love it already. And in turning her heel, I'm like, no, not right now. Why? And I feel like it just adds because there's so many heels already on the roster, and I feel like there's not a lot of faces. And I was like, she's one of the few ones that she was such a natural baby face, and that natural connection she had with the crowd. I'm like, I didn't want her to lose that. And it's like I know why she's turning, but at the same time, I don't think she should have turned. If that makes any sense, I don't think it would have been her time to do it in that aspect. And that's the only part I hated about this whole thing. It's like I do like that at least maybe now she'll kind of get a highlight for herself, but at the same time, it's just like I feel like she could have done better as a baby face moving forward. I know they lost a couple people with the draft, but still, it was like she was one of those like she could have been one of the top baby faces in the division right now. So to me, it shouldn't have been a thing for it to happen. And again, poor Jacy. I mean, poor Thea. How many times did you gonna get betrayed at this point?
But Barry brings up a good question. I was surprised. Oh, no, this is not the one, but we'll say this anyways. I was surprised Fallon didn't go to the main roster. She's easily better than Davenport. I will disagree on Blair Davenport. Yep. Blair Davenport has been poorly portrayed in NXT proper. Mm-hmm. But if you've watched anything from NXT UK and anything from her British indie scene, she is light years ahead of anything Fallon Henley will ever do. I like Fallon. I think Fallon has a high ceiling. But Blair Davenport's already done things that I don't think Fallon Henley can ever do.
Well, she's top tier, so that's a high ceiling already.
Oh, top tier. I forgot about top tier Fallon Henley. Oh, God.
But I know what you mean, though, because not only that, but Blair has such a, like, she has such an experience that to me she shouldn't have been in NXT as long as she have basically doing nothing, because she's done a whole lot of nothing basically. It's been the thing with Soul, and that's been about it for her. And it's just like it should have been highlighted more since she signed. We haven't really gotten that much from her in that aspect. I feel like Kiana, for example, has been more showcased in NXT compared to like Blair, to give an example. But Blair does have the experience to be there, and she's had the experience to be there. And I think she was in part of Stardom for a while as well. So she's had an experience in like so many places at this point that I'm like, she should have been the main roster a while ago. And I'm glad it's happened now. It made sense for her to get called up Kiana has grown a lot, so that makes sense as well. I was hoping Fallon would get there in the supplemental kind of draft because I feel like I don't want to say she's better than Kiana, but I feel like they kind of have grown about almost the same. Not entirely exactly 100%, but like they've been growing little by little like that. And she had, I think, a little bit more indie experience that Kiana had at the moment. But either way, I was surprised that she stayed as like her and Jacy would have been my other call ups, to be honest, because I feel like Jacy's another one that I don't see anything for her. And maybe a GG as well, because to me, breaking off them boy Toxic Attraction was just a mistake because what it's gone them nothing at this point. Nothing that's happened of like importance for either one of them. So, but either way, I feel like it's a good way to showcase Fallon. I feel like now they have some people that they can move a little bit higher up and highlight them a little bit more, and hopefully Fallon's one of them.
Barry also says Davenport can't cut a promo. I think she's only gone to SmackDown to put Cargill over. I highly disagree. You need to look up her work as B. Priestley. Look, search on YouTube, B. Priestley promo. As a UK person, you should know this already. You should have been able to watch her for the past few years before, especially NXT UK, but even before that. The work she did as B. Priestley was sensational on the British Indies. But the original question, is turning heel when it's someone as annoying as Thea, isn't it more understandable? The answer is yes. When you turn heel on Thea Hale, yes, it's understandable. It's even sometimes encouraged. Barry stands by it. I've seen it, never been impressed. We're going to have to agree to disagree then, because I've always seen big things for B. Priestley. I thought she was fantastic from the word go. Moving on, we get to as I'm now calling them, as we all know, I make nicknames because I don't want to type people's names into my notes all the time. We have Tyson Dupont and Tyrick Igwe. And I've given the nickname TNT.
Oh my God, I had close enough. I was thinking you were going to say TT. That was close TNT.
Enough. Yes, you are close enough. TNT. Like D&D, but TNT. But TNT, one of them, I don't know which one is which, is into human anatomy, working out, and is a nerd.
I think it was Tyrick.
I think so. And then the other one went viral for, I have down written hammer throw, but I believe it was something else after Vic Joseph corrected me on commentary during the match. I believe it's discus. Either way, they had a video package. It was interesting. I just didn't pay attention to which one's which. I'll also tell you that in the match coming up, I also didn't pay attention to which one is which. We then get Natty having practice for tonight. And then we get the Good Brothers versus TNT. I thought TNT looked all right. They weren't good. They didn't look bad. They're all right. Again, debut, NIL signings. They get a very, very, very wide berth when it comes to what's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have a very low bar to cross for what's good. Essentially, are you better than Lola Vice? If yes, you're considered good. They cleared that bar. They are better than Lola Vice.
Jeez.
Barry says Tyson was the bulkier one. They are both brick shit houses. I don't know which one is the big bulkier one. He says Tyson I thought was good. The other one, not so much. And he also says that one of them was really good. Like I said, I didn't see anything drastically wrong with either of them. Neither one really impressed me. But at the same time, they didn't seem like a train wreck going out there. And again, it's hard to be a train wreck when you're working with the Good Brothers. For whatever shit we want to give them, they are one of the greatest tag teams of this generation for a reason. Even if it's not by work ethic, by titles alone, companies keep handing them gold like it's candy. So, for better or worse, they are one of the better tag teams of this generation.
Yeah, I think the thing that really stood out to me was the double choke slam, the timing of it. They did really well with it there. And other than that, I was like, well, there's not much to it. And I was thinking, I'm just waiting for the LC to win because the new guys are not going to win this match. And yeah, oh, wait, it happened. So nothing new there. But that's the only thing that I was like, oh, I like it because not only the hype, but the timing of it, doing it together was really well done. But as I found out, I was like, I couldn't know. I didn't know which one was which. I'm going to have to find something between both of them that I can pinpoint like I did with the Bella twins so I can know which one's which.
Like the Usos?
Yeah, I mean they're brothers too. Like that, these two are brothers. They mentioned, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Oh, are they really?
That's what I remember hearing. And I don't know if it was a video package or something else, but I'm gonna look it up.
I had to spend 5 minutes explaining to Mama Fries that AOP weren't related because she thought they were twins.
I thought at first too because they look kind of similar, but they don't. Yeah.
They look similar until you realize that they're not related, and then you can never unsee the fact that they look nothing alike.
Yes.
Anyways, we then get to what Barry's favorite portion of the program is going to be, Ava on the microphone. Ava talks about how the superstars were drafted, but this is NXT. We've always got to keep moving. We never get to stop, so people get drafted. Somebody has to go ahead and... Asher made a weird noise from something.
No, I'm trying to find if they're brothers or not.
Oh, okay. She talks about how somebody's going to have to step up. There's a big opportunity coming up at Battleground. And that opportunity is the women's ladder match to crown the first ever women's North American championship, because that's how the men did it. Which is fine. I like the idea that we're doing a ladder match to determine this because, again, it's the men's North American Championship was decided in a ladder match. This one's decided in a ladder match. All right, Ava, so far so good. I'm on your side. Then you lost me, honey. Because in something that made the reverse battle royal seem like it made sense, we are getting, and correct me if I'm wrong, we are getting an NXT Women's Combine next week. In which they're going to do pointless exercising things to determine the 12 women who are going to be eligible to go into 6 one-on-one matches, and the 6 women who win those one-on-one matches based on placements from a combine, which has nothing to do with professional wrestling, but we'll go with it, then become the 6 women in the ladder match at Battleground.
Yes, that's correct.
What the fuck are they thinking? you know what? NXT has 2 ways of determining a women's champion in anything.
Battle Royal,
ladder match. Royal. No. Well, there's 3 then. A battle royal, a ladder match, and a tournament.
Yes.
And typically tournaments lead to ladder matches.
Yes.
What I would have done is I would have had your however many women, 12, 18, whatever you want, and have them wrestle without a combine. We don't need a combine. Over the course of the next few weeks, have them wrestle matches.
Really?
And then, yeah, in like a bracket. And then have the like, so say you have 18 women in the bracket. You then have 9 winners of those matches, and you have a battle royal. And the last 6 women in the battle royal get to go on to the ladder match. That would have made some common sense. And I'm being as obtuse as possible.
I would have done though, like, let's say whether you do 18, 12. No, that's what Tiffany and Kaiser did to start dating. That's a different story.
I watched that interview today. That was great. Yes, of course I watched. Of course. There's a Tiffany Stratton interview for 20 minutes. Of course I sat there and watched Tiffany Stratton for 20 minutes.
I had a feeling. What I would have done, do the tournament, whether you do 12, 18, whatever number. And then the winners of that tournament, you could have done, what I would have done, it maybe do the 12 for the tournament. And then the 6 winners, those go to the ladder match and make it a 6-woman ladder match at the Battleground, because we've done the women's ladder match before. So it's still a thing that's happened in the past, and keep it that way. And then now, seeing like we have this moment first we have Jada interrupting. I'm like, okay, fine. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. So interrupts. So, okay, makes more sense. Okay, keep going with it. And then all of a sudden we see Mia, and I went, "What's happening?" I'm like,
Then we got Ariana Grace.
Yeah, Ariana. But then when Mia comes out,
like, no fighting, no nothing. Yeah.
I love. I'm
like,
and then I went. I know the draft is not official until May 6th. But I was like, again, what's the point in this too? I'm like, I get it and I don't, because I get having the main roster presence here. It makes it a little bit different. And you need somebody like a Mia Yim who has that experience that a lot of these girls don't have. That makes sense. At the same time, I was thinking, then what's the point of the draft if you're gonna have all these people? She's from SmackDown and come down to get a championship in NXT.
So here's the thing about that. Apparently, people can come willy-nilly from Raw and SmackDown to NXT. Why is that? Yeah. Because there's no free agents for NXT to sign. Everybody that they listed as a potential draft person got drafted. So there are no free agents for NXT to sign. So I guess we're going to see people from Raw and SmackDown willy-nilly. And hey, the HBIC is more than welcome to come back down to SmackDown. Come back down to NXT.
No complaints about that.
No arguments for me seeing Mia Yim wrestle. I am refusing to call her Michin. She is Mia Yim in my notes. She is Mia Yim on my TV screen. I don't care what they try to sell me. She is Mia Yim. However, they had the most convoluted bullshit to get to this battleground match. Then the brawl starts. And I figure out the other two people. And the brawl starts, locker room empties. And we get Karmen Petrovic, Lash Legend, Ren Sinclair, Kalani Jordan, Izzy, Dame, Brinley, Jakara Jackson, Rizzo, and Stevie Turner.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Stevie.
Rizzo and Stevie Turner, I believe, are the other two women. All but Rizzo and Stevie Turner are definitely confirmed. I definitely saw all of them there. There are two that I don't know, and I'm guessing.
Rizzo, I think I know which one the other one is. I'm trying to remember which girl she faced recently. I just know she was part of that TikTok that I showed you. What they were all dancing. I know she was the one in the front, but I can't remember her name. But I know she looked like one of them too. But again, thinking of like potentially based on the people that we got already, Jada makes sense to me. Soul makes sense. Ariana makes sense. Mia, you're more than welcome to stay here, honey. I love it. Please stay. Kalani, I love having here. Karmen makes sense too. Britley, I'm like not so much. Lash and Jakara, just they feel kind of like they're always busy with metaphor stuff. So it's like I don't know how they're gonna get into this in that aspect.
I'd put Lash in a ladder match. I'd absolutely put.
I put Lash over Jakara.
Big. Yeah, you need something big.
Izzy, I'm like, she only needs something to do now that Kiana got drafted. And then Ren, I like you, Ren, but they haven't portrayed her in a way that makes me go, you should be here. Unfortunately.
It's fine. So. She's got time. But yeah, no, I definitely think it's the four that got chances to talk. All four of them are going into the match. So it's Ariana Grace, it's Mia Yim, it's Jada, and it's Soul. So it's two spots left. And that, for me, that is, I would pick between Lash Legend, Kalani Jordan, and depending how much they want to push said individuals, Rizzo. I don't want her anywhere near this. However, there is one other name that I think might be heading to this division, and it's Lola Vice. I wouldn't put it past Lola Vice because they've mentioned multiple times on commentary that Lola Vice would look good with that North American Championship around her waist. No. As much as I don't want it, mind you, also, they have redone the NXT promo commercial for NXT products on WWEshop.com. And the four people there are 5 people now in the commercial. And they are Oba Femi, Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams, Lexis King, and Lola Vice. Yeah. All 5 of them are going to be getting pushes in the foreseeable future. As much as I don't like it. We then get Axiom backstage, and they're interrupted by the Street Profits. And they were great. Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, they were great. They were talking about how we've been fighting with these guys for a long time. We fought them in NXT. We've been fighting them on the main roster. Hell, we fought them as far back as WrestleMania. We know these guys. You're in for a long night. You're going to be hurting. You're going to be in bad shape. But remember one thing. They all get down. And they all get close. And Ford says, never slow down. And they all go, yay! And Ford goes, I don't know if you heard this, but I certainly did. I watched the product. I watched the product. I watched the product. And I'm just like, oh, fucking God. Who doesn't watch the product that they're fucking with here? Because I guarantee you that's a shot at somebody from last week.
I mean, that would be a shot at Booker T, if anything.
Oh, yes. It's easy to know Booker T. It's a shot at somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's Montez Ford having fun with somebody on the main roster. And I'm curious as to which individual from the main roster that we saw last week that he's like, I watched the product. I think it's Shady McDouchebag. Also, Raw, can you please stop showing me JD's face from last night?
I don't want to see his face in general.
I especially don't want to see it with all that red makeup on from the fucking 3 rings. Everyone says, somebody as bad as Lola Vice in a ladder match? I know. I don't want it either. However, she's going to get pushed. And they're not going to do Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez. So guess where that leaves us? Lola Vice in the North American Women's Championship picture.
Mm-hmm.
We then get Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler prepping for their match for the NXT Underground match. To which Shayna says, and this is something I noted because I thought it was going to come into play later on. Shayna Baszler looks at her and says, all right, you know, you've done your striking. We need to now do some groundwork because Natalya's really good with the submissions and you have to be able to defend those. To which Lola Vice says, who needs to work on submissions when I have the fastest hands in NXT? And you see Shayna Baszler roll her eyes and just go back to holding the bag. And I'm like, Shayna's going to fucking turn on this bitch and I'm going to be so excited.
I was waiting for that too.
And it didn't happen. And I was a sad panda.
Shane, I'm disappointed for the first time.
Speaking of being a sad panda, Ridge Holland takes on Shawn Spears and wins.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on this match or can we just move on?
No.
All right, cool. Roxanne's backstage and she's pissed about not being drafted. I'm finally agreeing with her. Bitch, I wish you were drafted. I don't want you here. Amy doesn't want you here. We all want you gone. But unfortunately, apparently, for the first time in any of the promotional stuff, apparently NXT champions were protected. At no point in any of the rules did they say that the NXT champions were protected.
Mm-hmm.
They stated that champions were protected. I watched both shows. At no point during the little fucking ticker bullshit when they were doing who's still available and who's been drafted on the programming, they never once listed the NXT champions on the protected section.
Actually, and even I remember when she wrestled on Raw, they said, oh, the draft is coming up, and she is one of the people, like, basically is in the draft pool. Now that I think about it.
But that,
and
again,
she
that
had
was...
the champion. No, she had the championship when she did it, too.
Yeah. Ava tries to get her to talk to somebody, but Roxanne says, I'm done with your bullshit, and walks away. Which Ava looks into her office and goes, we'll have to talk more later. I was hoping for this to be an empty office and it was supposed to be Julia. However, I was even more disappointed. And again, I was even more disappointed when I found out who it really was. We'll get to that later. Oh, very much so. Very disappointed. We then get Ivar and Briggs backstage in the medical training room. And Briggs is like, hey, Ivar, you know, good match. You came up close, you know, you came up short. But good job, and thanks for softening up Femi for me. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then Wesley comes in. He's like, Ivar, you did such a good job. Good for you. Briggs, you did too. When the pay-per-view, I watched it. It was great. All right, guys, you guys sit here. I'm going to go ahead and take on Femi. And Briggs is like, bitch, please. I'm next in line again. And Wesley's like, no. You guys wrestled and lost for my championship. So I'm next in line. And Briggs is like, no. You don't get to cut the line. And Wesley's like, there is no line. The championship's mine. So I'm going to get my title back. And Briggs is like, well, we're going to have to talk about that. And he's like, why talk about it? Let's just fight next week. And I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I don't want Briggs to lose, and he's going to lose, but it'll be fun. Yeah. And then in the background, Thea Hale and Chase Yu are getting walked in to the trainer's room. And then we get a promo in the car from the D'Angelo family. Not this D'Angelo family, but the other D'Angelo family. Yes, I'm going to forever use that graphic. I love it. I'm not deleting it.
I know
basically, Tony D'Angelo is taking on one member of the new Quarter Catch Club. He assumes it's going to be Charlie Dempsey. I assume it's going to be Charlie Dempsey as well. So that means, knowing us, it's probably going to be fucking Baby Orton. However, he did give everybody a job. Rizzo is going to talk to her interior decorator to feng shui the restaurant so that when the cup is won, they can go ahead and place it in the right spot in the restaurant. Luca is supposed to talk to everybody to get the contract signed so that he can have the match for the Heritage Cup. Okay. And then Stacks is he might as well be Slacks at this point because he's not the underboss anymore. Asked what the fuck he can do to help Tony. And Tony's like, you know what? I need an important job from you. I need you to get me footage of everything that was Heritage Cup related. And I'm like, do you know how much time and effort it's going to be to record all that shit from the network, Tony?
Oh my God. You know what would have been so funny, though, if it would have just said, you can just get a subscription to Peacock. Yeah. You can go watch NXT UK. But that would have been a good promo for it.
By the way, anybody who missed it, Peacock is going up to $7.99 for the basic plan starting in July. And unfortunately for us in the US, that's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we're stuck paying it. We then get Axiom blatantly cheating to retain the tag team titles against the Final Testament. These terrible, terrible, terrible heels of Axiom cheating. How dare they cheat in a professional wrestling match? Such a bad thing to do. I actually really enjoyed this match. I thought it was a whole bunch of fun. I didn't take a bunch of notes, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the never stop moving idea at the beginning of the match with them just constantly attacking AOP. And then AOP getting one good smack down on both of them and taking over for like 5 minutes, 6 minutes of this match. Most of it during commercial break. But I like that idea because that's exactly how you want to build a David versus Goliath match like this. Two guys who are all about speed and then two guys who are all about power and being big. That's the perfect way to balance this match. AOP constantly surprises me because I'm constantly forgetting how good they actually are because they're paired with Karrion Kross. I love the Authors of Pain. I think they're great. I liked them in their first run. I like them now. I think they're great. And Axiom had to resort to cheating with that damn New Catch Republic. Those bastards in the New Catch Republic. Also, why did the New Catch Republic get involved? Like, why?
They got attacked by AOP and Karrion on Friday.
Oh. Okay.
I thought you were watching it with me.
I was, but I was watching Scarlet. I'll be honest. I didn't notice who AOP
was
beating up.
Before they got drafted, so he's like, it doesn't matter what brand it is, and then AOP was beating up New Catch Republic in the back.
Barry Monkey says, or watch it for free on Twitch with an annoying tit talking crap in the corner. And then Barry Monkey says, Ed, you fool! Why? Scarlett is delightful to watch. She's a whole lot more fun than having to listen to Karrion Kross. I'll tell you that. It's a whole lot more fun watching Scarlett than listening to Karrion Kross talk. I did think it was funny to have the 4 British guys on the outside. Well, Europeans, I should say, because Axiom is very not British. He's actually Spanish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also did like in the Street Profits segment, they talked about focus, and Dawkins was like, "How can you tell?" He's like staring into Axiom's mask. Oh, that was good. Oh, I love the Street Profits so much. I miss them being fun and entertaining. I hate them in the Pride. Like, the Pride is great for Bobby Lashley. The Pride is great for keeping the Street Profits on television. The Pride is great for getting BFAB something to do. Because Lord knows anything with Dante the Adonis is not going to work. It can be Hit Row, it's not going to work. It can be him teaming with Cedric Alexander, not going to work. So BFAB needs something good to do. But I'll say it again, I said it before. I need Montez Ford to turn on Angelo Dawkins. Yes, I want Montez Ford to be a world champion. First step for this is to turn on Angelo Dawkins.
No, he gets to do the New Day route. Still be in the group and just take the championship.
No.
Yes.
This is not how things work. We then get Thea Hale backstage in the trainer's room, and Ridge Holland comes in and asks how she's doing. Why? Reasons.
Why do you care?
Yeah, why does Ridge care? Like, I don't understand if he accidentally hurt her or something. Like, one of those things where accidents happen around Ridge, and like he opened a door backstage and bumped her on the head or something stupid like that. Like, that would make sense. He wasn't involved in her match. He's never been involved with Chase U in any way, shape, or form. Why? Him and Andre then have a nice little heart-to-heart where Andre asks how Ridge is doing, and Ridge says some shit that I honestly didn't listen to. And then Andre...
All I got down is like, you can't trust anyone in this business. So I guess you can even trust him.
No, definitely can't trust him. And Andre says that he's there for him if ever he needs him. He knows where to find him. I really don't want Ridge Holland and Chase U. I really don't want Ridge Holland and Chase U. I really, really don't want Ridge Holland and Chase U. We're going to get Ridge Holland and Chase U, aren't
we? Yeah.
We get the metaphor segment that we talked about earlier. We find out that Trick is going to be on Supernova Sessions. Fallon comes bursting out of there with Kalani Jordan not far behind, asking what the hell is going on. And Fallon says, "It's time to put myself first." And she walks away. And Kalani goes, "Putting yourself first?" And I'm like, well, yeah, Kalani, you would understand nothing about that. You always work with everybody else. You always put everybody else first. And you're with Carmelo Hayes. Lord knows he ain't going to put you first because he is him. Am I wrong? Does Carmelo Hayes strike you to the... Does Carmelo Hayes strike you as the kind of person who's going to put anybody else above himself?
I mean, in real life, I wouldn't know. Character-wise,
On screen.
It's like, tell me I'm wrong.
I did not say those words.
Close enough.
we then get a backstage segment with Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. This was boring. They were talking about the broken mirror from the backstage tag team segment last week that I honestly had entirely forgotten had happened until they mentioned it. Had completely forgotten that it had happened last week. Brindley comes walking in and he's like, "No, I don't want to do any workouts. I don't want to do anything." And she's like, no, we're not doing that today. We're doing something different. And I think she was supposed to say, "I brought cats." But I swear, and I listened to it 4 times, she says, "I brought kids." And she brings in black cats.
What? I think she meant kittens, probably what she meant, no?
Yes, but they were full-grown cats. They were not kittens. And also, it made me wonder, are these her cats? They're her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it was a problem because she brought them two black cats. And of course, with somebody who already has bad luck, coming across a black cat is a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
I like Malik Blade and Brindley. I think there's a lot of fun with those two. Can we get Indra Sanofe out of all this? Because I really don't like him. His negative energy is really ruining these segments for me. I have fun with Brindley and Blade. I really do. I think they're fun together. It's not good television. It's not entertaining, really, but it's fun. For 45 seconds, it's fun. Barry Monkey says, the cats didn't look happy. I was hoping for bloodshed. We then get a recap of next week. It's going to be Briggs versus Wes Lee, the Women's Combine, and Supernova sessions with Trick Williams. We're also going to include that next week is going to be, we'll talk about it now because I want to end on the main event segment, main event match. After the main event match, Roxanne's like, oh, look, neither one of them are at my level. So who's going to take me on next? And she's like, well, I tried to tell you who your next challenger was going to be for you, but you walked away. And you told me you didn't want to be a part of it. So next week, and Roxanne's like, excuse me, next week, I just defended the title last week, and now I got to defend the title. She's like, what the hell are you doing? And he was like, look, I'm the general manager. Let me do my job, and you do yours. And she goes, your next opponent is, and she points to the door, and in walks a walking bow, otherwise known as Chelsea Green. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it once, and I'm never going to repeat it, and we're not going to clip it or anything else. Next week, I am rooting for Roxanne Perez.
What?
I can't stand Chelsea Green. I don't like her. I never have. I don't like Matt Cardona. I don't like Byers. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. They've even ruined SDL. They've even ruined SDL for me now. I don't even like Steph anymore. And I thought Steph was great. As Barry Monkey says, fucking Chelsea bloody Green.
Let's go, Chelsea. Yes. I'm not kidding.
Next week for 1 week and 1 week only, I'm rooting for Roxanne Perez. Now, we get to our main event match. Oh, boy. I'm going to let you start. Because I have thoughts and opinions.
Oh, jeez.
Lola Vice versus Natalya in NXT Underground.
It was fine. It was like, I like that we got to highlight Lola in a different light because I like to see this like more like vicious side of her. And it's more like close to what she does in MMA than what we've been seeing lately from her. To be honest, I prefer seeing this over what we usually get from her. But again, it's just like, she doesn't do it for me. I just don't want her on my screen. Like, no matter how much they try, it's not working out for me. I did like the back and forth that she had with Natty, for example, when she had the submission of Natty, and Natty literally picked her up and dropped her on the floor, and the way she swept Natty off her feet on the commentary table, like things like that. I like those moments here and there. And then everything happened with Shayna and Karmen. I was like, I knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't want it to happen. I really didn't. I just wanted it to be clean. If I could have Natty winning, I would have been even happier, to be honest. But once we have Natty in the she has Lola on the sharpshooter, I was thinking, oh no, I want her to win, but it's not gonna happen, is it? No, it's not. And it's like we get Shayna out of the freaking corner, just choking out Karmen, which distracts Natty. Goes to help out Karmen. I like how she takes care of Shayna, but doesn't check on Karmen. Just goes inside the ring, like she didn't even attack Karmen that she knows. Only for Lola to like win the match by knockout, and I was like, "Here comes the victory dance! Yay!" Your turn.
Okay, so I have many thoughts, but it all boils down to one sentence, and then I'm going to reiterate from there. But first, we have Barry Monkey saying, Why were the only people on 3 sides of the ring? Because we never film what happens on the hard cam side because it's pointless, because all we're going to see is the back of their heads. Honestly, that's from a filmmaking perspective, that's the reason. It's the same reason why there's only ever like 1 or 2 people in a lumberjack match on that side of the ring as well. Sometimes they'll only put 1 person there, and they'll just have people kind of like filter in from the sides if they ever need to shoot that side of the ring. Hey, we got our friends Get the Tables joining us. Thank you, Tony. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. And if you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and load up the back end real quick. Do you have any more thoughts on this match while I load up the Twitch back end for...
No, I just like the points of like, I wish it would have been a little bit like I would have preferred and hoped for Shayna to turn on Lola in this aspect too. I feel like that would have been more interesting, of like her getting annoyed that she's not listening to her and taking her own advice. And it's like, so what's the point of me being here kind of situation. That's what I was hoping for. And then it didn't happen. So it's like, that's what I wanted. Either way, just like it almost feels like it kind of gave me the vibe. I see that we're going to do a tag team match between these 4 sometime in the future. We get with Lola and Shayna versus Karmen and Natty, because I feel like the way it ended, it just kind of built up to that. So that's what I kind of gathered from like the ending and how it went through. But again, I'm just not a fan. I would have preferred just Shayna turning, because I prefer Shayna over Lola any day, to be honest.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Thank you, Get the Tables, for donating 100 bits. We greatly appreciate that. I have given you shout outs on both the Our Local Establishment and my own personal Twitches for anybody who's watching there. If you don't, please make sure that you go ahead and check out Get the Tables. While we did watch-alongs for the draft, they do it every week for Raw, for SmackDown. They also do it for AEW Dynamite. They also do it, I believe, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you guys do a Collision one as well. Collision and Rampage type one, so let me know. Tony says, I agree with Astrid on that. Shayna turning would have been great. I wholeheartedly agree to that. Natty is so underappreciated, goes out there every night and puts talent over, and then didn't get drafted on the program and had to get drafted in the supplemental draft. I thought that was a little unfortunate for them to go ahead and do something like that. All right. So I teased that I have 1 line of notes for this. My 1 line of notes for this match is, I can see exactly why Lola Vice failed as an MMA fighter.
Ew.
You were like, oh, I liked seeing her in this vein. She was vicious. I entirely disagree with that statement in its entirety. I thought she had 0 killer instinct. I thought if this had been an MMA fight, this bitch would have been put down in 20 seconds the way she was trying to fight this match. She was pitiful in this match as an MMA fighter. Natalya looked more like an MMA fighter in this match than Lola Vice did. The only thing Lola Vice did that works as a like a fighter or something like that is the fact that she had her hair up in rows, like cornrows, real close to her skull, almost nothing draping, so that she can't have her hair pulled, things like that. I've noticed a lot of female fighters who have longer hair almost always on fight days or fight weeks make sure they get it put up so that it's something they can't get pulled on or something like that. No, I thought there were so many times where Lola talks about having these fast hands and being able to punch, and she had Natty on the ground, almost got ready to straddle her, and then did nothing. Like, stood there and fucking looked at her. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're an MMA fighter. You should be pouncing on top of her, punching the hell out of her. Like, where are these fast hands that you talked about?
I'm like, why do you use your fast hands to tap? I would have used that. Please.
Yeah, that would have been great. That would have been great use of your fast hands. I loved the spot of doing the, Shayna has the curfew to clutch on Karmen, and she's just staring down Natty. I wish Natty didn't look so dumb and got up and did it. I really wish you'd have been like, you know what? Sorry, Karmen.
I'm like a couple seconds from winning.
Like, who cares? Like, choke her out. Fine. She falls down on the mat. Like, I don't care. Like, why does she have to care about her friend right now? It's not like
it's the Canadian connection they gave us.
The fuck the Canadian connection. I If I had somebody in a submission hold, I'm not gonna break it just because somebody's giving Bobby a chokehold. Sorry, Bobby, you're gonna get passed
Dang,
out.
Bobby.
I'm gonna win the match first, Bobby. You're gonna get choked out. I'm gonna win the match first.
Bobby, just don't get any close to it just in case because you didn't want to die.
Barry, they need Chelsea Green versus Lola Vice in a no crowd, no camera, loser and winner both retire match. I mean, I won't go that far, but I mean, yeah, probably. I've never seen one of these no ropes matches that wasn't shit. I will tell you, Bloodsport at WrestleMania weekend had some really good nights. You had some really good fights. If nothing else, find Shayna Baszler versus Masha Slamovich. That shit was fantastic. Because Shayna was laughing at Masha at points in that match. And Masha was laughing right back at Shayna. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But no, this would have been so much better if it was Shayna versus Natty. This would have been so much better if it was Shayna versus Natty. And then Lola Vice doing her stupid shitty dance after she wins the match.
That's what I've been sarcastic
when
about.
She didn't even win. Like, she won because Shayna helped. And I'm like, does she realize that Shayna's the reason why she won this match? Or did Natty just felt bad and dropped the submission hold right before she quit?
And it made me laugh when she does it. She looks at Shayna. I was like, Shayna's not doing that dance, honey.
Yeah. I was just praying that Shayna would just put her in the curve fetal clutch and just choke the bitch out. I'd be like, Shayna, if you accidentally choke her out and she dies, she dies. Like, no, I'm kidding. We don't wish ill on anybody. Well, we don't wish injury or death on anybody. If Lola Vice was, unfortunately had the flu for the next, 3 to 4 years, that'd be okay. What, you don't want to see her on your TV screen as much as I don't. Like, don't act like this is just me.
I know about the flu, really.
I don't want to wish anything worse on her. At least the flu they can kind of control so that she doesn't die. There are other things you can die from. You don't die from the flu.
I know. It just seems random. Oh, jeez.
Very random. We're going to go ahead and play you a clip of Astrid's interview with Emily J. as we go ahead and get ready to go to the end of the show. So we're going to play that, and then we'll be right back.
Mitchell Pro Wrestling and with Thunder Rosa, how was that experience? Like, did you learn anything from her while you're being there?
That was an amazing opportunity, and I will be back very soon. But being able to be around people like Thunder and the family that Mission Pro has, like, it was an amazing experience. I got to be there with a couple of my friends, and I truly wouldn't have wanted to be there with anybody else but them.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and catch that interview on bodyslam.net right now. And this weekend, you can probably catch that on Astrid's own YouTube channel. So if you want to go ahead and find that, Astrid, where would they find that if they were looking for your YouTube channel?
I wonder where. I also have another one coming up with Jasmine Allure that will be coming up pretty soon as well. That got recorded over the weekend. So that was fun. But yeah, you can find everything else on my YouTube channel, which is Astrid Pizarro. I will be coming up with some book videos as well, just to give a little bit, I don't want to say diversity, but a little variety, I guess, aside from the wrestling stuff. But yeah, other than that, you can find me, was it Saturday? I keep forgetting what day it is. Saturday at 11 in the morning on Jose's channel. We're going to do a little pre-show to Backlash, and then I'll be here for the post-show Backlash. So whatever time that ends, it's going to be nice because it's an afternoon pay-per-view, which I don't mind having, to be honest. Other than that, my Twitter and Blue Sky is Astrid Pizarro, and Instagram and Threads Astrid Pizarro 20.
Yes, and of course you can find me on Twitter at EdFries12584, and you can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. Tomorrow night, I am going to be joined by my other tag team partner, Andre C, as we talk all things Iron Man 3 on another MCU Rebound episode of Marvel Talk. So make sure you go ahead and catch that. There's a lot to talk about with that movie. It's going to be interesting. Barry Monkey says it's a reasonable time pay-per-view. Yes, I may or may not be part of the post-show coverage. I'll be honest, I kind of monopolized the WrestleMania weekend as I was on every show that we did for the entirety of WrestleMania weekend. So trying to give other people the opportunity. We have confirmed guests of Mark Talks Wrestling joining Astrid Pizarro on the post show for this Saturday. So definitely go ahead and catch that. This is going to be fun to see those two on camera for the first time in a little while since WrestleMania on the same camera screen. But either Bobby or myself will most likely be there as well. It's an interesting card. And also look forward to next Monday night. Astrid Pizarro and I will be right back here redoing our show, Talking Takeover. We'll be back to talk about all things Our Evolution, the debut of Kevin Owens.
I remember.
We know what happens on that night.
That ending that I called it before it happened.
That ending, yes. But we want to thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. And again, make sure that if you haven't, go check out Get the Tables. They are fantastic people who do all kinds of great watch-alongs. They are a good friend of the channel, and we want you to go ahead and do that. So if you haven't followed them already, go ahead and do that. And we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
I'm never gonna look back, 'cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's bad.